And welcome back to the 12th man. Delighted to have special guest Decky Harley and big Liverpool fan to talk about that dramatic week against United and against West Brom. We'll also be reflecting on that big one for Leicester in the FA Cup, as well as looking ahead to the big game in Leicester-Chelsea, which is crucial to Liverpool's top four hopes. So, delighted to have you with us.
Good to be here, Gary. Good to be back.
He's on 350 grand a week, and he's literally doing live streams on Twitter during a game. Like it's embarrassing.
It's madness. Like sometimes out there getting 350 grand a week for not even
So only one quick start for me. Like Monday, the one Harley. My opinion is like the game every Well, good to have you back on, Decky. Been a while. Tell you have the honour doing the 50th show with me. I know Emma's was
just
obviously. Emma's actually forgot about it altogether. He's the gym. He said he probably would shouldn't done from the gym because he watches all the shows. But hey, crazy week, crazy season for you boys. The Merseyside, Liverpool. It's up and down. You don't know what way to look at it. You always think that Liverpool, once they get a great result, they're going to go on this kind of run, and start blitzing teams the way they've been doing over the last couple of years. So I will just start with that game on Thursday night. Obviously, there was massive build-up. The protests has been delayed. People were saying, it might not suit United that the game was sandwiched in between. But I actually thought it probably didn't suit Liverpool. The fact they had to play Southampton, then play United, then play West Brom, they play Burnley, and then play next week again. So it's almost a game that extra G's didn't need. So, how important was that one on Thursday? And obviously the performance to go away, it was really, really, really good.
Oh, performance was unbelievable. While out of stand out, but more than anything, the one was a massive momentum. Like that was a game behind that we did not need. Everyone else played, and there was more pressure built on Liverpool. But the one itself, they beat United. United's, they're not an easy team to beat. When Liverpool went one down, I thought, here we go. And then Liverpool went 2-1 up. As soon as United equalised to 3-2, not equalised, they scored to 3-2. I thought they're scared to come back. Their form's unbelievable. Zach always slags it or whatever, but they're credit, like they know how to grind out a result and get one back.
They're quite good at coming from behind as well. So when you did get that 3-2, you're probably panicking. But Stevie, welcome back. Always a regular listener. I honestly, it's the fact that they were going there under so much pressure as well. It's sort of like a must-win game. Had he wanted to draw, was even good enough probably, and they haven't won there since 2014, which also adds extra pressure. It was Klopp's first one there, and we've seen the likes of Trent back playing his best. Thiago's been brilliant in the last couple of games. He's took a lot of stick off me and other people as well doing the show. We know he's a good player, but it hasn't really worked out for him. But maybe we're seeing glimpses that he can be a crucial player for Liverpool over these next few games and even on the next season. And I suppose you come out of that there, flying, full of confidence. You look at the fixtures and you think, 3 games: West Brom, Burnley, and Palace. 3 fixtures that you would normally fancy Liverpool they do comfortable in. Burnley away might have been the tricky one, and we'll talk about that as we move on. But West Brom are confirmed relegated. I know you were saying off camera about the Big Sam thing, but the fact that there's so much uncertainty about Big Sam not being there next year, Burnley or West Brom already been relegated. We know nothing to play for. I don't know how you felt, but I sort of expected Liverpool to go up there and just roll them over. Did you expect it to be a bit more comfortable than it was, or did you think that no, you can never roll out a Big Sam masterclass?
I think the lead up to it, for definite, it was. I think I felt it, and most fans would feel it. We would have walked that game. We should have walked that game, in fairness to us. But when I seen the lineup, it just changed my mind straight away. I think Diego Jota has been unbelievable. First and foremost, he's been a massive miss for the rest of the season. But I think he brings something different to that team. He's a lot more direct. I feel with Sadio Mane's per form at the minute, it was a cert with no Diego Jota. We wouldn't be as a big of an attacking threat. And I just think teams now have, they don't hold Liverpool don't hold a big threat to them. I think everyone seems to have a game plan, and with big, as I said, I think it's good. Has a record, but I think Sam Allardyce was set up really well. And he knows how to grind out a performance. And Liverpool were lucky, to be honest with you. I'll be the first.
I titled the show about Liverpool being lucky. And I don't want people to take that the wrong way, but if you look through the season, they've been traditionally unlucky this year with injuries, a few dodgy VAR calls. I think Liverpool and Spurs might be top of that list with VAR calls that's gone against them. But do you think over the last few weeks the luck's starting to swing their way? We've seen the VAR West Brom goal, to me was a goal all day. I can't understand why it was rolled out.
Never.
Allison obviously scoring the header. You've seen Trent scoring in the last minute against Villa. Leeds in that second half could have scored 3 or 4 goals. Newcastle, I know they scored late on, but Newcastle were probably the better team in that game in the second half. Do you think that Liverpool's luck's maybe swung a bit in their favour and they're getting their, everyone deserves a bit of luck here and there, but do you think that they finally are seeing a wee bit of things go their way now instead of everything going the other way?
For definite, and I think that was key to our title winning season. I don't know if you remember the game against Man City. Trent handled it. When you go up and score, they take the momentum away and away you go. And as soon as Fabinho scores that goal, you just start battering away, and there was no catching the same. But I think the luck was with us that season, and now the luck's with us here. But to me, I'm baffled, because maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that was 2 penalties. Even the United match during the week there, remember he went over the top of the ball, Eric Bailly, he went over the top of the ball and went straight through by Phillips, and that was a penalty all day long. So at the same time, I don't think luck's with us, completely, but with the last minute efforts, you don't get them.
Two unlikely sources too. Obviously Trent doesn't score loads of goals, and obviously goalkeeper scoring is quite rare. So see before Owen's just saying Klopp said Jota has a tiny chance to play against Palace. Suppose again, if Jota might not want to be rusting ahead of the Euros, but in terms of Liverpool, they might feel, well, we haven't got much rust ourselves. It's our last game of the season. Be interesting to see, if Jota makes the bench that day. It's sure to be a big game, whatever happens between now and then. But as I was saying, coming up the 94th minute, I said he was watching it in link 48. I wasn't watching it. I was out, so I couldn't really see it. There was TVs on smoking garden behind, and I just had an eye on my phone to see what the score was, and I said 90+4 off camera. I said 90+4. Geez, it's getting desperate now. And then with 30 seconds there, I just hear the link 48 starts to vibrate, and forks and knives and all start to fall off tables. And I see about 6 or 7 boys behind me with tops off and swinging them around, and a few waitresses had to calm them down. And then I just checked my phone to see who scored it, and it said Allison. So obviously you were watching it live. So when you see Allison going up, do you sort of think, geez, this is madness? Because if West Brom got in the Orient and score,
Exactly.
we could lose, and who knows how valuable that point could be, because we don't know how many teams will drop points. So, did you think it was really, really risky?
I've seen them a couple of times. I think that's his third or fourth time this season doing it. Within all competitions. My heart was in my throat watching it. And especially, I don't think Liverpool were a big threat. There was something like 16 corners or something in the match at that stage between both teams, probably more. But jeez, you could not write that. For the last 20 minutes, they just couldn't penetrate them. When
there was a couple of chances, wasn't there?
Oh, seriously, awful missed chances. But see, when they brought in Xherdan Shaqiri and they brought him on the pitch in, my head went and I thought, geez, I'm not going to, this is awful. The man was going sideways. It was like a classic Jordan Henderson 5 years ago. He just couldn't bring a ball forward. So my head was gone, and then when they hit the corner, I thought to myself, no, that's it. No chance. And you see the videos on Facebook, it was me, my younger brother and my father were watching the match, and it was just ecstatic. It was just like the Barca match over again. Everyone's just jumping, they were going mad. But
I think West Brom, because they're very relegated, they won't be having nightmares about it. But if it had been that relegated them, they would have been. But do you think they just lost concentration? That Allison just sort of ghosted on there, and nobody really picks him up. No one picks him up. And hey, take the away. It's a fantastic header, but how did you feel when the goal done? Was it sort of like shock, or was it just overjoyed, or?
There was two going for the once, and I had to see for a second. As soon as I seen Allison run away, I was too busy jumping up, and it was even better in the feeling seeing him. It was taking nothing away, unbelievable header. Any striker in the league scores that. I think that one of the commentators was saying he'd be super proud, but no one marked him, no one at all, just lack of concentration.
Allison dedicated that goal. He's led far and stuff, and we always talk about great stories in football, and that obviously was one of them.
I know it was written from, so they say, he says, but I just had a child there recently and all as well, and they said he didn't get back to Brazil. I didn't know that was the case. I thought that was a case with Jurgen Klopp. He didn't get back to his mother, but heartbreaking. But he's had a poor few performances this season too.
I think that'll make up for it if they finish in the top four.
Definitely. He's pulled us out that bag before.
You made a great point there about it was written for Allison. Do you think, is it written for Liverpool, just the way things are starting to go their way, that they're going to pull this off? That they haven't been in the top four since February. So, I think
we have a chance to finish third now. If results go on our way, and like you're saying, it seems that the Liverpool have a bit of luck. So hopefully now it just carries through. Spurs do us a favour. A draw tonight.
Yep.
You could have a healthy enough finish.
Lee could be a 2-day hangover. You could be right. I don't know. Maybe he's not at the gym. Maybe he's still in bed. I heard he was in a wild state on Sunday night. So who knows?
He's still in Allison school.
No. I've been two of my cousins are big Liverpool fans. We have a group chat, and we're almost like brothers. But just one of them was writing on as soon as a goal, get in there and stuff. And oh my god, and whatever. And the other one just sort of said after. Quite a positive person. He was on the show a lot, Callum. He just said that the reality is we're going to have to improve in these next two games, because we're not going to get that happening all the time, where the keeper pulls us out in the last minute or whatever. So is that the concern for you now that the dust has settled down? It's obviously on the Sunday, you're just thinking about when after the game, we've got the goal, we've got the one, and now that sort of you've had a bit of time to settle and think about it. It's now Tuesday, big game tomorrow night. Do you think that more so tomorrow night, the way they Burnley, they're going to have fans back, that it's a really difficult game? He's have to play a lot better.
Massively. There was a couple of individual good players, at the weekend. But as a team, I think Klopp probably celebrated for an hour, but he realised that that was poor. That was bog standard Liverpool, and the team shouldn't have been playing like that. There was not much energy in the team compared to United, but they can use the momentum from that one there, and they could. The boys could be all good form in the team, but you still look at it. Sadio Mane, he just did not. He's had a couple of goals in recent games, but I just don't think he's been at himself. And then that's just that real piss that he runs at people with. He just doesn't seem to be able to do it. I don't know. That's just feet work used to be unbelievable. He could left or right, but I just feel like he's trying too hard. If you get what I'm saying, he's
confidence.
It was a lot more natural than beforehand. Them three were just clicking off each other, but Firmino, no matter what, he was captain of the match, whatever. But He definitely he must have great chance. He had the woodwork. Don't know if he's seen that one. No,
It's a great effort. It fell from quite kindly, but it's a great effort. Here, I tell you what, but Salah's finish was incredible. And, that man just keeps pulling you out of holes, doesn't he? I mean, he does miss chances, but he scores a lot of goals.
I panicked. They pulled this. I see him pulling his hamstring in after the score. Some finish. Seriously, one touch. There's not many people that can do that. Let's be honest.
I think he's when he doesn't have time to think about it, he's even better. He just has that natural finish. He's quality. I know he did score a great goal against United where he went through and scored, but seen him miss a lot of them ones too, where he has too much time to think about it, and he tries to make it a bit too difficult, or he waits too long. You made a great point there about the team itself doesn't look to be the same energy. Do you think that it was that game where everything caught up on the Southampton game on the Saturday, the United game on the Thursday, and then West Brom Sunday? Do you think that now they've had a couple more days to rest, hopefully on Wednesday they'll be able to have a bit more energy in their game, because Burnley are a better team than West Brom. They've got much more of a goal threat, which you talked about off camera. Chris Woody's in great form, and I know Burnley. They lost Leeds 4-0, which is quite a bad result for them. But generally speaking, they've been pretty good recently. Got good ones away at Wolves. They won 4-0 away at Wolves, and they've had some other good results on there too. So is this a game that Liverpool need to treat with utmost respect?
I think this is a far harder game. I think you're completely right. Definitely need more respect. But you're saying no, the team or whatever. I think Gini Wijnaldum and that team makes a complete difference with a possession and all that. I don't want to scruff a game. I don't want to be going here. I want to go here and just be passing, plenty of possession. I worry about, you're saying big man Wood at the back. I worry with the young boy Williams. He was very rash going for headers the weekend. A lot of balls going behind him. Trent covered up a couple.
Burnley will know that too. Burnley are very good at mixing the game. Even the best centre backs, or even the best centre backs struggle against the likes of Wood, because they make it very physical, and the likes of Barnes as well. He'll put the elbow on, and he'll just make it an uncomfortable night. And Liverpool, although they have been conceding loads and loads of goals, they don't keep that many clean sheets. They nearly give away at least one a game. You've seen the goal they conceded; it was very, very poor. The way Canu just went that unscored. And Burnley, the type of team, they can grind out 1-0 ones, when they can make it very difficult. So first goal is going to be very important in this game, I think.
Oh, majorly. Some finish for a man that hasn't started in 3.5 years, isn't it, or something like that? First Premier League start, isn't it?
For sure. You know yourself, Decky. You don't lose it, like, you know what I mean? You can't beat it.
No, it was some finish, but I found it wide open. Seen Salah's goal overnight. It was a very similar angle, coming in. Left foot, bottom corner. Keeper maybe wouldn't have done better, but could have made himself bigger. But I do fear with like saying your man Woods, and he's in form, that's a man who hasn't played in 3.5 seasons or years or whatever it is. You can picture a boy coming, playing in form, fans back, 2 very inexperienced defenders. You're up against. It could change it up. He could end up saying right up when I put Fabinho centre back now. That could be a very tricky one,
because Fabinho at times has been a big miss in the midfield, but maybe for this game he feels he might have to try and gamble and play him at the back.
That doesn't suit me though. I feel
that's it.
Thiago's a much better player alongside Fabinho. Thiago doesn't need to tackle balls, just get that out of his head, because how many yellow cards did he pick up in his first few games? He's not a tackler. Do you see how creative he was? Some of the passes he's playing all day, man, the match, it was phenomenal. He's coming on his stride now. That's Fabinho gives the cover to the defence, and that's Thiago sort of wander away. But with Curtis Jones in the midfield, Curtis Jones is a passenger. I think he came off in the 59th minute or whatever. Gini Wijnaldum on there having possession, giving the ball to Thiago. When he has that creative passes, I think it'll be completely different. But if he starts Fabinho in centre half, it could be a completely different game for the Liverpool midfield in a bad way.
Sort of been asking a lot of people this. Do you think these next 2 games now are crucial to Liverpool summer plans? Do you think the Champions League being on it, not so much in terms of being able to attract a player, because Liverpool will be able to do that anyway, I think, but with Klopp there as well, but just of the financial that the board will give them, because obviously qualifying for the Champions League, you get that extra cash injection, therefore managers tend to get more money to spend. So do you think that Klopp's plans and Liverpool summer plans hinge on these next 2 games?
100%. if you look at Liverpool now, the money that they need, the areas that they need the players. If Gini Wijnaldum goes, you need to fill his boots as soon as possible. But because Jordan Henderson, he's out injured now at the minute. We forget to talk about him sometimes, but one of them players goes down, you need to buy a midfielder, and it's so key. It's I think Firmino or whatever, Jota, Salah, Mane next year. I still think I would still be content with them. I would like maybe another winger, just to have on the bench. But if we don't finish and we don't get the money, it could be a long season again. If boys aren't hitting form.
Yeah. Anyone you have in mind to come on the midfield? Anyone you think in your head that he'd be a great signing for us?
Jesus, I'd love to take your man Tielemans from Leicester. It would be my first buy.
He's a good player. It's funny because he was linked with United and Spurs before he went to Leicester. He actually had a season on loan at Leicester first, and still people wouldn't take him up in Leicester, but then got him for 40 million, and it just looks like a right steal. Everything Leicester, as we're going to talk about next, funny enough, everything they seem to do when it comes to player recruitment at the minute just seems to work. And I think the question I want to ask you is, do you think that one on Saturday against Chelsea represents the work that they've done? You know what? I know it's been a few years now since they won the league, so a lot of teams changed around, and they were very unlucky, but they threw it away themselves last year, not finishing in the top four. Who knows what will happen in these next two games, but at least they'll have an FA Cup to show for it this year. And do you think that Rodgers and all them players deserve something after the last 2 years?
Definitely. You look at that team, the title winning team compared to the team now. There's a lot of players missing. They obviously had a lot of older players and that, but they have a good young squad too. But losing Mahrez and losing Kante, they're two world class players. Yep. And now Vardy's not been there, and he brought Iheanacho, and Iheanacho's doing phenomenal stuff in the past while. Obviously, he didn't do much the weekend, but deserves serious credit for the money.
If it wasn't for Iheanacho, they wouldn't be in this top four fight anymore, because Vardy hasn't scored for a lot of games, and I can't mind how with the number, but it's been a while since he scored. But Owen's just saying there on your thing about Basuma, he thinks would be a good signing for Liverpool. Yeah, I do like him, but would he be good enough? You're taking a gamble on a player, aren't you?
I just want a possession player.
Must be a friend of yours, or
he just dropped off a letter from here. He's just outside. But I want a player that can play on the ball, and he's a wee bit more versatile. But hey, Jordan Henderson's coming back. I think even our 2 seasons left of that man.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I love your man for Leeds. The winger, Rafinha. No, seriously, first season and everything.
He's so direct.
Seriously direct. But like Gareth Bale for Spurs a few years ago.
I'll tell you what, Leeds are an absolute joy to watch. I've watched them. I've been watching a lot of them. They absolutely ripped Spurs to shreds there a couple of weeks ago. As I said, I've seen the highlights of the Burnley game. I didn't see the game itself, but I don't think Sky Sports had enough highlights. They fit them in because they were showing. I think they scored 4 goals and they showed an RT chances they had. Just some great football, and they've got everything. They're just probably lacking a squad. They do it over 38 games. That's why they probably are mid-table, because some of the games I've seen them, they're as good as anybody to watch.
No, they just came straight from the Championship. Not many teams
hasn't phased them.
Do it that quick. It's just the transition was so good.
Yep.
And your man, I'm nearly sure that man still doesn't speak much English.
Nah, he's no intention learning English, apparently. No intention. He's been here 2 or 4 years now.
It's like Bale in Madrid, apparently he didn't learn much Spanish either. So, seriously.
I think that can cause trouble, though. You see the Bielsa at times does take a bit of stick from the media when they get beat bad, or they would on them bad. A couple of times this year, they had a couple of stretches of 3 or 4 defeats, or not winning in 3 or 4 games. And people were slagging the style and saying they're too open and stuff. And I think a lot of that comes from sort of them feeling that Bielsa's disrespecting the English, be not learning the language. The same thing happened with Bale in Spain. It never really got on with the media because they thought he was being disrespectful to them as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I just think Bielsa's just too stubborn. He won't change.
Either that, or he's smart enough not to talk to the media, because he knows about the shite that they give him. I did see a couple of clips where he spoke in English in one of the press conferences, but it was like maybe 4 or 5 words. but hey, you never know. He could be just doing that behind the scenes. He's a crafty man, as we all know.
It's funny how exactly, and he just admitted that openly too. They just asked him, and most people go, "Oh no, don't know what you're on about." He just openly admitted it at the time. He said, "I we were spying on them," but no, it's funny. The same names keep coming up. Basuma, who I've sort of said I wouldn't mind him at Spurs. Tielemans for me, I think Spurs wouldn't be able to get him. But Rafinha, I've actually done a squad I'd like to see at Spurs next year on paper just. And Rafinha is one of the names on it. I think he's a top player, and if every one of them top teams will be looking at him. He is very similar to Mahrez when he came out of Leicester, very similar type of player, but I think he's got even more pace, and it just looks like such a player that's going to keep on improving too.
He's a good talent. I also like your man Torre for Villa.
He looks very raw, but doesn't he?
It does, but he's great feet too. Unbelievable. But your man Rafinha definitely first season in the league. They play the way he's playing.
Yeah,
it'd be frightening. You put your hand with not to say a better squad. It would definitely be. It was fun.
I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans. Were happy for Brendan Rodgers and stuff, and I think there is still I think at the time, when he left, there was almost a feeling of obviously they wanted him gone, but I don't think they ever disliked him. I just felt that they probably wanted a bigger name, and they couldn't really get over the way that season before how it ended, and the heartbreak of it. I just think that when Klopp was available, Liverpool fans just really wanted him. And Rodgers still had a lot of fans at Liverpool, and when he done do well at Celtic, especially the Irish connection over here, people that claim they support two teams, or I don't know why that is, but there seems to be a lot of people like that over here. And they obviously still have a lot of love for Rodgers, and the fact he's going to only win that trophy, it sort of puts him on the map. And see if they weren't to finish in the top four now, Decky, do you think that Rodgers might see that his time at Leicester's over, that he might still he feels that alright, he also takes some of the blame too for not getting over the line, but 2 years in a row they've been so close to not getting into the top four. How many chances are they going to get? He's won them a cup. If another team comes calling, if say Arsenal were to sack Arteta, if Spurs were to look at him, there's talk of Real Madrid now being interested in him. I think that's obviously it's a bigger club, but would he want to go to Spain? I'm not so sure. But say it's Spurs or Arsenal, who I know they're below Leicester in the table. It's looking like Spurs are going to be in Europe, but obviously not in the big one. It's more likely Europa League or even the Conference League. Arsenal don't look like they're going to be in Europe at all, but they do have that bigger stature, and he might feel that he's got more at his disposal in terms of like what he can do there. So do you think that Rodgers doesn't make top four? He's got a decision to make, because how much better will it get at Leicester from?
Well, he's an intelligent man. Do you know what I mean? He's really smart in regards to football, so he'll know he has a big decision to make. And if he doesn't move now, will he get back to that top level? Because
Decky, the worry for him is if what if Leicester have a really bad season next year and they finish mid-table, all that talk of him will slightly die down, won't it?
Well, like a team like Arsenal would be the ideal, a good philosophy of football. I think he does bring that to the team. I think that's what Spurs really desire the minute. I don't think he's played good football in the past
couple of years now.
Three seasons, But like you're saying, Potter, I would take Brendan Rodgers over any manager. If Liverpool were to go recruit another manager now, I would no doubt take Rodgers back. As sour as that would be in a few people's mouths, he's a top manager.
Yeah.
But I think he has a big decision to make, because he'll have no money really at Leicester, but he knows he'll have a good squad. But on the strength of the way he finished this season, it would be wise to go to like a Spurs or an Arsenal.
I think if they finish in the top four, he'll definitely stay, because he'll look at the Champions League as a challenge. And I just think if they miss out again, Liverpool's going to be stronger next year. Chelsea are definitely going to be stronger. Man City aren't going to go anywhere. United are going to get stronger. I sort of think Spurs and Arsenal can only improve. I just get that feeling that they can't get any worse than they've been over the last couple of years. Maybe I'm wrong. So I do feel for Leicester, and Vardy looks like he's coming to an end. Maybe we're judging him on a few games, but it just does look like the season's catching up with him. He's not going to be able to produce it over 38 games anymore. He has
No.
So, and he's going to be crucial. Leicester's philosophy over the last few years has been basically around Vardy, especially since Mahrez and Kante have left. So it's going to be difficult. Even if they're in the Champions League, they keep going at Leicester. But if they aren't in the Champions League, I think it could create a doubt in his mind that if a Spurs or Arsenal come in, It could think this is a good chance. I don't know.
Well, he's in a good position as it stands. I would rather be in his shoes than Klopp's and Tuchel's. But like you say, Champions League would keep him there for definite. Would you go to Spurs and Arsenal if there is no Champions League? I know playing in Europe's still on Spurs' mind, but
the reason I say do I would like Potter over Rodgers is just that I think that Rodgers is, when I look at him, I just don't put him under that bracket of Klopp and Guardiola. I just don't. I've just seen. No, I'm not saying that Potter isn't. This is not what I'm trying to say. I just think that Potter needs a chance.
But does Potter need time?
He's going to need time. I think any manager, even if it is Rodgers, you can't expect him to do it overnight.
But you see Jamie Carragher now and Gary Neville talk about the teams, the turnover of managers. They don't get the time.
No, you're going to need at least 2 seasons.
Be effective.
At least 2 seasons. But the only thing I need to say on it is I just don't believe in giving managers time for the sake of it. We have to see something they back or get behind. Just letting a manager continue on could be, for example, Arsenal at the minute. Spurs didn't see that Mourinho was the right man for him. So, and on the evidence that we've seen, I don't feel his sacking was unjustified. I don't think he deserved another season. I don't think Arteta can complain if he's sacked in the summer. I don't think he will be. I think he'll get another season, but the Arsenal should look at that and go, if we give him another season, he could create even more of a mess for the next manager. So I do think you have to judge it. You can judge it with your own TAs, but for me, Rodgers will be a brilliant appointment if we can get him, but I just don't think we'll get him. I think he'll sink Spurs as a poison chalice, to be honest. But Potter will be, as I said before, Potter. And there's a question here. Obviously, Decky, there's a lot of talk about Kane. So the news the last day, who would you replace Kane with at Spurs? See, this is a thing. Everyone seems to think it's a done deal, or he's going, or Decky, I'd love to hear your opinion on it, because Sky Sports are saying that he's asked to leave, and there's not one single quote I've seen. No,
and you seen Ryan Mason there. It was on, and I feel Mason's hiding something. It does. He's far as I know.
We know that Kane said before that he wants they won the big trophies and stuff, and it's obviously not going to happen in Spurs now.
No.
He's given it long enough. There's rumours that he's asked to leave. According to that journalist I follow, Alistair Gold, very close to the club, says that Kane's made no secret of him looking to win the big trophies, but as far as he knows, he's not asked Levy directly. No. They find him in a club in the summer, and he's very loyal to Spurs, and he won't kick up a fuss. I think it'll be down to Spurs. I think Spurs know the situation with Kane. He wants to move on probably, but he won't go about forcing it. So I think it'll be down to Decky. If we get the right money, it'll suit all parties.
There's only 2 clubs out there that can buy him, and I think you talked about it in your last podcast. You touched on it. Manchester United for me, but they signed Edison Cavani there on another 1-year extension, and you're heading over to Madrid, playing in Spain. You couldn't see anyone else in the league going from. I don't think
he wants to play in La Liga. I just don't, or Serie A or French league. I think he wants to stay in England. So there's only a couple of clubs. Can't see him going to Chelsea with the Spurs connection. So it's our Man City or United. And the 20, he's 28 in July, and although he's still got a few years in him, there's still that risk with a 28-year-old of paying. It's going to be, from what I hear, at least Spurs want at least 150 million. So that's big money. And Spurs will have that financial look. He's golden boot. Well, he's going to win the golden boot, or he's going to be close with Salah. He's most assists in the league this year, so he's coming off a strong season. He's a very complete player, and despite his injury concerns, he's played more or less every game, bar a couple here and there. So, and the fact he's 3 years in his contract, Decky, Spurs have all the playing power here. It's all in their hands, really. They're not going to be forced on the side.
I can't see him leaving, and that's the truth. I feel like it's a bit of deja vu. I feel like we've been at this before. Yeah. And then a couple of years ago, I remember somewhere with Wayne Rooney. You're not going to leave. You're tied to the club. I could see him sitting there for another 2 years at least. I don't think anyone's going to come for Harry Kane. I think United have other things on their mind. Another centre half. I still see this Sancho saga going about. And that's for the
future. I mind that Youri Tielemans from Sky Sports News. He stood outside Dortmund's ground every day last summer saying a move was happening, and it didn't happen. All these people are getting carried away with Sky Sports and the Harry Kane thing. That the biggest story last summer never happened.
Exactly. But I think United, that was really smart play. They knew they didn't have to go and buy them last year. The price is going to go down massively now.
Yeah.
They did get Champions League football. They won, was that last night or the night before? So they've secured Champions League football now. Obviously, price tag goes up a bit more maybe. But I think United was smart business not going on for them last year. It was too much money.
120 million they wanted. I know, it's crazy enough.
It's down to 80 something now, or if I'm going mad, it's the asking price.
Yeah. And they're still, do United need him? Like, Greenwood's coming through. I know they need to bolster that their squad, but I don't think it's a necessity. Do you think a centre forward is more United's priority? Because Rashford can play in the wing, Greenwood, and if you like, I know James hasn't really hit, but they've got players that can play in them positions. Striker Cavani's going to be there still on that year contract, but he's still somebody that's on the back end of his career. But getting back to Leicester, Decky, people are talking about them as outsiders in this top four, despite being third. Do you think that's unfair? Everyone I ask who do you think's going to make a top four? They all go Chelsea and Liverpool, and obviously the pedigree and whatever, but it's still very much in Leicester's hands. They don't need favours from anyone else. It's if they go and get their 4 points, that's guarantees them in. And they've already beat Chelsea twice this season. So what's they say they can't do it again tonight?
Exactly. As I said, I think they're in a driving seat. They have the momentum. Back one at the weekend, Chelsea's down the dumps here now. They could go out there full throttle and just put Chelsea away tonight. But at the same time, it's everything's. I don't think that Leicester were favourites the weekend.
Yeah.
But I would say everyone will be putting their money on them tonight. But
I don't know, because you know what? They would have had a right party after that one.
Well, Verde, you've seen the Verde stuff, but Rodgers getting over the line. Can he get them over the line tonight? Maybe not, but I would prefer a draw.
Do you know what? I think, and not to say this is silly, but not to say that the games are right off them tonight, but Leicester will fancy themselves a bit in Spurs in the last day, and I still think in the back of their minds, they'll not say this, but Chelsea have to play Villa, and Liverpool still have to navigate through 2 hour games, and they've dropped points against worse teams this season, so it's not a given that Leicester might only have to win one game. They'll still give everything tonight, but I just think it's possibly wrong timing after that the big party probably. I always feel that whoever loses the final is going to be a bit more motivated. They go out and try and gain a bit of revenge. But with Chelsea at the minute, Decky, do you think they've just slightly went off the boil? That the first bump under Tuchel sort of came at the wrong time for them? I mean, they haven't been scoring a lot of goals under Tuchel. They've been very, very dominant in the games, when they're creating loads of chances, but they've not been able to tick them. And they've had to win a lot of games 1-0 that they should have been more comfortable in. But they've been so good at the back that they haven't had to sort of score 2 goals in a game too often. So the fact that they've lost these last 2 games 1-0, and do you think that that's just evident that they need a striker in the summer, and that's what's missing really?
I would believe in your man Werner. They come through. Obviously this season, he's cost them a lot, but he's come from a league where you always say playing farmers or whatever. He's not came up against the physicality of the Premier League, and he's said it many times. I'll give the man a year. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He had big links with Liverpool, and I was gutted when they didn't get him. And some people will turn around and say he's glad, but he could turn around next season and have a wonder season. But they've kept plenty of clean sheets. But it was a mistake against Arsenal that cost him that game. That Jorginho passed, But I thought he's had a good season.
He's been getting a lot right, Decky, but he made a lot of changes for that game. Sort of went on second string. And looking at that now, the fact they've lost the final as well, the gamble's not really paid off. And
no.
If they beat Leicester and beat Villa, it'll be forgotten about because top 4 and chance they won the Champions League. But if they don't get over the line this week, and we were talking about Werner there, he's missing a lot of easy chances. Nothing to do with physicality. I know what you can say about physicality and stuff, but there's been some easy chances he's missed, and that's down to quality, I think. I just don't know. He's not been clinical enough. Maybe his confidence. But if Tuchel, if they don't finish in the top 4 and they lose the final, how much pressure is he under? Because everyone's raving about him. And we know what Chelsea's like. They have 3 great opportunities and spurn them all. That wouldn't be good for him. No,
seriously, Frank Lampard about the house rubbing his hands together. That is madness. It's a mad stat. He came in and he had that. The team was there in the plate for him. You know, it was all he had everything just right in front of him. There's no better squad in that league, bar City. You know, he had everything to work with. The changes made obviously were a bad choice, but he could. If Chelsea won't be that ruthless, they let him go. At the end of the day, they got 2 finals. But that is a big loss for him.
If you're going under pressure, going the next season under huge pressure.
Oh, massively. And they won't. Will they have that much money to spend next season? You'd think that Chelsea would need to offload a couple of players. You know, I'd say they have a big wage bracket there for a lot of the players.
There's talk. They're interested in Kane, and they're not even a striker, and they're going to have to get Alexis Youri out and Abraham out. They fit the striker on. They
missed out on the chance of Abraham. He was offered the Bayern, wasn't it?
Or was that? No, it wasn't a
boy. They must. I know
he's hardly featured at all, isn't he?
They have a lot of superstars in that team. Like, you know, your man Havertz, Mount, Ziyech. You know, I feel like they're all. It's well packed across there. You know, they're all very, very creative players.
Yeah.
And I'd say he has to think about letting a couple of players go. Your man Kovacic, Jorginho. You know, the links with Jorginho going back to Italy. They Juve a couple of seasons ago, was it Sarri, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They should have just probably took it then. But why would you go for Harry Kane when you've Eric Haaland, sitting there for probably 80 million, 90 million?
Tuchel would probably know as well. No, but hey, this is the thing now. You know, I've looked at getting back to this top 4 battle. You know, I've looked at the fixtures. You know, and I've looked at the table. You know, Leicester and Liverpool could end up in a situation where they're level on points, and it could come to the goal difference. You've sort of said you think Leicester are favourites. People I've talked to think Chelsea are favourites, or people I've talked to think Liverpool are favourites. How do you see it? Who do you think's, you know, in the best position?
I still think that Leicester are on the best position of all. But the pressure is definitely on Liverpool the most. I don't care what anyone says about Chelsea or Leicester. We still have to go play Burnley, and it's 2 must-win games. You know, Leicester can get a draw and a win. Liverpool have to win the 2 games no matter what. We're still behind them on points, both the teams. And I
think it's very much the same for Chelsea, people. I don't think they can. You know, we'll not know until tomorrow night. But if Chelsea draw this game, they're going to be absolutely shitting themselves. If Liverpool won tomorrow night, you know, that's it really, because they needed Liverpool would overtake them. And as long as Liverpool were to beat Palace, it wouldn't matter what Chelsea did against Villa. So Chelsea are very much. No, they have to beat, but Chelsea will look at that and think, you know, it's still in their hands too. But Chelsea will know if they don't win the night, it's going to be out of their hands. If Chelsea were to go and beat or if Liverpool were to go and beat Burnley. But it's been a crazy season, Decky. Would you be surprised if Liverpool weren't they won these 2 games, or Chelsea weren't they won? No, if I could say Liverpool or Chelsea and Leicester play a draw tonight, would it surprise you if Liverpool went and drew then away to Burnley, and then it would all down to the last day again?
Would not be surprised. You know, it would be a big great viewing, you know, for any football fan. Them 3 teams going on the last day. But I have a bit of faith on Spurs. Maybe they sort us out.
Well, you must be off your head if you're putting your Spurs top on. They do somebody a favour. But hey, I still get the feeling there's going to be a bit of drama involved in this. Where it's a last minute job from somebody. You know, or it could even go to the final day, and you know you have sort of. I think you'll get at least 1 or 2 mad moments on there in these next couple of games, because we've seen it, you know, at the weekend there. You know, and we've seen the Newcastle result away at Leicester and stuff. There's so much can happen. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a mad surprise in there. And one of them teams really lose a game they wouldn't be expected to lose, honestly.
And well, you're looking at Liverpool, and Liverpool have the easiest of the 2, the 3 you would say. But you're going up against Dice, you know what I mean? He's linked with a Palace job right now, and then you go play Hodgson this last game. You know, could be written on the stars for that man. You know,
they won at Anfield after getting the sack.
Bit of a lousy one, but he said he's going to take time out of football. I got man to just pack the bags now.
He's a brave age, in his 70s, but he's done a great job at Palace. Decky, before we go, we'll just get a quick look at these games over the next couple of days. It all starts tonight, 6 o'clock. United against Fulham. How do you see that going?
United have the points back. United for a comfortable one there. Cavani to do a bit of business.
United need to get a bit of momentum for this final coming up, and Fulham are already down, and I think United will win it 2-0. What do you think?
I think I would put it a bigger scoreline, to be honest with you, because I think Cavani's out there to do a bit of damage tonight. I definitely think maybe 3-0, 4-0, as big as that.
Right. I'll probably watch this game because I think it'll be more sort of two teams are going at it. Southampton against Leeds, 6 o'clock. I think it'll be a great watch. Both teams like to get forward and attack, and both teams are in good form. So Southampton had a really bad run, but the Ings back, they seem to have turned a bit of a corner. He's vital. They them, and obviously his contract's only got a year left. Decky, would he be somebody that you would look at for Liverpool as a great player to bring off the bench?
No,
I know he was there before, but
no, I wouldn't do it. Then the fella's had bad injuries in his career. I would stray away from it. I don't think he would come back either, to be honest with you.
I think he'd be a great signing for Spurs. I would really.
It'd be a great replacement for you for definite.
But the injuries concern you, and then Leeds that we talked about were very good. So how do you see this going? I think it's going to be goals here.
Leeds are very open, aren't they? So it'd definitely be end to end. But no, I fancy Leeds they get that one. Give it a 2-1 or a 3-1.
I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go for a 4-3 Leeds 1. What a madness! I don't even know why I would say that, but I just think
scoring goals. Look at the amount of goals scored.
Southampton have been involved in a lot of high-scoring games under this manager too. But you can some heavy defeats, some great ones in there. So it's hard to know why they'll turn up. But I'm going to go for a crazy 4-3 Leeds 1. Brighton against Man City. Can Graham Potter put another star on his CV for me if he can? Well, Man City, they're going to be open too because you've seen against Newcastle, they just sort of let the shackles off. Brighton are stiff, very attacking team, so this could be a very good watch as well. 7 o'clock, I think.
Like you say, there's a big chance. No, they create plenty of chances in the match. Like so, if they're clinical enough, they could. But I just think City's too good at the back. They've changed a lot of things up there. They'll want to get a couple of good ones under their belt now for the Champions League final. So I'll give a 2-0 one there to City.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. 2-0 City. Chelsea, Leicester, obviously the big game everyone's going to be watching. Liverpool fans around the world be setting their alarm clocks in some places they watch this game. How do you see it going? I think it's going to be Chelsea are very much all close games they've been, bar they all won here and there. They've won easy, but they're usually involved in very low scoring games, and Leicester as well haven't scored a lot of goals recently. So I do get the feeling that this is going to be a very nervy one.
Yeah.
But I'm swaying towards Chelsea. I don't know how you feel.
I'll go for a 1 each here. That's me being optimistic too and hoping that. But I fancy Leicester to take a lead and then Chelsea to come back.
James is big Liverpool fan, so he's saying, "Come on, Leicester, believe." He obviously feels that Chelsea are big danger. So I'm going to go. I think 2-1 Chelsea. What do you think? 1 each.
1 each.
And then moving on to tomorrow, we've got Everton against Wolves, 6 o'clock. Everton have absolutely shot themselves in the foot. How many times this season? They really should have been in that top 6, definitely. Too many defeats at home against terrible teams. And Ancelotti seems to he was done there with a great reputation. But like Mourinho, that they were winners coming to teams that didn't do a lot of winning. And it looks like Ancelotti could be the same as Mourinho because hasn't really improved Everton at all.
No. There has got some good signings there, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're going to be a laughing stock, and I had a fancy Wolves to put them in that match. I'll give them a 2-1 to Wolves.
I'm going to go for an old boring one. 0-0. Don't see much happening on it. Newcastle against Sheffield. Newcastle are finishing the season strong. All them rumours about Bruce are starting to go away. But you just wonder where. I know it's the maximum's been back, but they seem to have gone a lot more attacking since they've come back from this international break. Almost like the handbrake's been let off, and they look like a different side.
A few Arsenal fans be happy seeing that because my Mullock's been good too. I definitely think they
scored more goals at Newcastle than Arsenal's entire midfield. Between their boys that have played in that role. Xhaka, El Neni, Partey. I think even Ceballos, Odegaard hasn't scored a lot. So he would have been useful.
Oh, for definite. I don't know why they did let him go. They have a lot of trust in that wee young fella, Martinelli. He might be all right of a player, but you better keep him as much as you can for an Arsenal sake. Bad
Um,
team, bad team. But
Sheffield they look like a team that were far from relegated the other night. They played very well against Everton. A few young boys come on to the team, so suppose they're playing with a bit of freedom that they've been relegated for a long time now. That they're just trying to enjoy their last few games and might make us a bit more. It's probably might be an open enough game too.
it's a big shock their season. That was the youngest ever goal scored the weekend, isn't it, in the Premier League?
17, I was.
But I fancy Newcastle to do the business there. But like you say, if it's a lot more open, it could be a goal rush plus. So maybe like a 3-2 Newcastle or 3-1.
3-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle. 6 o'clock, big game for Spurs against Villa. Top 6, I think, is crucial. We don't want to be in this Conference League, and Europa League's going to be looked at a bit more respectfully now, I think, from teams that are trying to get into it. Because before it was almost if we weren't in the top 4, we don't want to be in the top 6 or top 7, but you don't want to be in this Conference League as well. So, and the position that we're in, it's looking like it's going to be 6th or 7th. So there's no real way now we can finish outside, I don't think. Villa, very, very poor this last bit of the season. I know Grealish has come back, but they were cruising on that game against Palace and they threw it away. There's going to be a protest before this game. Spurs fans very unhappy with the board. Just the lack of spending and stuff, and obviously the Super League, as you've seen, has created a lot of fans protesting. So, do you think Spurs will get the one here? It's obviously crucial, and there's still a mad possibility that they could finish in the top 4 of Liverpool and Chelsea and Leicester, where they completely fall apart here in these last couple of games.
Jeez, it'd be atrocious for all teams involved. It'd be very embarrassing for Spurs when it's top 4. But if Grealish starts tonight, I was listening to it there today. If Grealish starts tonight, it could be a different game.
Tomorrow night.
So if Grealish starts tomorrow night, it could be a completely different game. Do you know what I mean? He literally is a game changer for a player. So I would. If he starts, I'll fancy Villa, but after Spurs the weekend there, I would just say 2-0 Spurs.
It's hard to know what you're going to get with Spurs because they were very good on Sunday against Wolves. Didn't play that well, but the week before against Leeds, they looked like a team that didn't want to be out there. The week before against Sheffield United, they ran them over. Could have scored 7 or 8. Before that, beat the Man City comfortably. Before that, they beat Southampton well. It's just you just don't know what you're going to get. It's a game basis, and I think that's what Mason's dealing with. There's just don't know what you're going to get, and it all depends on certain players. I think if Kane's at his best, it's a big difference. Højbjerg looked back to his best there on Sunday. He's been poor recently. Hard to call, but I just think the way Villa are playing, they're not offering much. I think it's a good opportunity for Spurs to finish off the season at home with a 1. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs 1. Crystal Palace against Arsenal, 7 o'clock. Big game for Palace with Roy Hodgson's last home game. There's fans back. Arsenal fans probably won't like that, but it's been announced today for a reason because they want to give him a good send off tomorrow night. And do you think that'll motivate Palace a bit? To give Roy a good send off at home?
I'd like to think so. No, you would hope so for him. He is a good manager, like you said. And it'd be if Hodgson was to come out and say, "Listen, that's him retired," then it'd be even more motive for them. But Arsenal, like you said, with Spurs, they're trying to just play for Europe or this conference or whatever.
You don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal either. It's just that's
no,
you know what I mean.
But I think they held on that one well there. So I fancy them for a 1-0.
Well, no, I'm going to go 1-1. West Brom against West Ham. We know West Brom. Everyone thought they'd been on holidays after getting relegated, but they proved a very stubborn test for Liverpool. And Sam's fell out with West Ham as well before, so he'll probably want to put another dent on their European hopes. And West Ham are cruising 3 or 4 weeks ago. Everyone was talking about the top 4. Has the bubbles burst?
I don't know. I'm shocked at that one. I think Declan Rice is the massive miss, no matter what. So he's back now, isn't he? So he could make a major difference to that team. I fancy him to finish the season strong, and he has contracts option, Moyes. So Moyes will be looking to finish the season strong also.
Yep. West Ham, they probably need 1 or 2 games to make sure a top 6. Do you think that they'll get them 2-1s? West Brom away, Southampton at home. Spurs have to play Leicester as well in the last game, so that could be a bit of incentive. If Spurs have a tougher game in the last day. West Ham would love to finish above Spurs too. So do you think they'll keep going? And we've seen if they look a bit tired, Decky, do you Lingard's form's dried up a bit? You know, are they going to be good enough to do it?
It was always certain to happen, wasn't it, Lou? You know, the smoke. But I definitely fancy them. They get away with the 2-1s at the end of the season. They've done it for long enough in the season. They can grind it out now. With Declan Rice back in the side, I think it's a big boost for them.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Ham one here. I think they'll win this game for definite.
I'll stick with that one. We 2-1 as well.
And then there's only one more game to talk about, and that's the big one: Burnley against Liverpool. 8:15 as well. Do you know what? I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's two predictions. I mean, I just can't. It's going to go one either way. I think it's going to be a 1-1 or a 2-1 Liverpool. I think. It's going to be more drama. Again, I just think Liverpool, they get into this top four, they're going to have to suffer a bit. Those used fans, he's going to be nerve shocking. And even on Sunday against Palace, it wouldn't surprise me if it was an R-type game and you were sweating towards the end of that as well. But I do think Liverpool are the luck's with them at the minute, and I think that they'll do enough. I'm going to go for a 2-1 here against Burnley.
Give me a 1-0. And that's being very optimistic. My heart does say a draw, but give me a 1-0. And I'll tell you, Sadio Mane's going to score too. There's one for you.
There you go. First goal scorer tomorrow night. There you go. Decky Harley's just produced a 10% around the Decky Harley. Decky, thanks for coming on. Really enjoyed it. Some good chat. Hope Emmett's enjoying himself at the gym. Just completely let us down at the last minute. Forgot all about it. Hey, imagine.
Can't believe it.
No, I'm around there last week now. The season's been 50 shows. It's been madness that this has gone on so long. So good to see so many people enjoying it as well.
There's a few pictures there, no in the startup, no beard, no that there sort of cracks. So you've aged a lot in the 50 minutes.
Yes. It'll be a great beard next time. We all stress like getting stuff sorted.
Well,
I know.
Being a Spurs fan, I suppose it
doesn't help. Definitely doesn't help. Hey, enjoy the game tomorrow night. I'm sure you'll probably not enjoy it because the only way you're going to enjoy it is Liverpool go out in 1, 3, or 4. If it's a 1-0, it's going to be hard to enjoy. But you're not going to shy away from it anyway.
No, big one tonight. I look forward to that.
That's that type. Best of luck, Decky, and I'll catch you again. Thanks very much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, anyone watching, make sure to give me subscribe.